Welcome to Unlearn, the podcast that redefines the playbook for modern business leaders.
In a world where yesterday's truths are today's challenges, every episode brings you bold ideas and visionary strategies to thrive in a world where the only constant is change.
Let's dive in. Welcome to Unlearn. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Unlearn Podcast, where we are redefining the playbook for modern businesses. We've had an interesting week. Oh, hey Kelly, how's it going?
It's going great. What was your interesting week?
So here are some data points of what I picked up in the market, right? One is the 14,000 people that Amazon was going to lay off. Like I believe they're still happening, and a number of people at AWS corporate have moved out essentially for various reasons. And then AWS is saying is that they're going to flatten out their organization even more. So you're going to see a lot of middle managers move out. Then I was at this event with our friends at NASDAQ and Equilar, and the event basically had operating partners from private equity firms and a bunch of board members. And all they were going to talk about was how bad pipeline is inside their companies. So this is like very senior people, right? And then I saw another tidbit of news where the technology companies are basically saying that we don't want people to resell anymore, or at least channel partners to resell anymore. So there's this whole conversation about resell is fading. And then I was looking at who we're going to have as a guest, and I saw that we're going to have our new friends at TD Synnex on for a conversation. So I'm like, okay, all of these things we can actually discuss. And because TD Synnex is, I believe, playing a pretty vital role in the market. But that's why we have Sergio today. So Sergio, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here and happy to participate in the call, and sound like a more than interesting week, apparently, with all those.
There's a lot of storylines, Asher.
I know what's happening. I mean, right now, Jensen Huang is talking about the future of AI in San Jose, and Adobe is talking about the future of AI for creatives in Las Vegas. So I mean, clearly there's lots happening. But anyways, Sergio, you're our guest today, and as we do with all guests, tell us a little bit about yourself, but also tell us a little bit about what TD Synnex is doing today. And then let's open up the conversation about what's top of mind for you and what you're seeing in terms of how business leaders or how TD Synnex is helping businesses or modest businesses built out. But let's start there.
Yeah, well, again, my name is Sergio Farache, and I am currently the Chief Strategy and Technology Officer of TD Synnex. I has been in the technology sector all my life. I am a system engineer by formation, and I really enjoy and love technology. I think that is one of the few places where you never get bored because it's something new every week, every day. Then it's always a challenge and something new to learn. And as you said, I think that one of the things that I am excited about the Synnex is that we are basically in this very strategic position related to the IT ecosystem, because we basically, I will describe it in a simple way, we connect the dots for the people in the IT world. And what that means is that we have deep and extended relationships with all the technology vendor providers. We have deep relationship with the service companies that deliver those capabilities, and we have the connections and relationship with the resellers and bars and ISVs and MSPs and CSPs and all the three letters that somebody dream in the night and put in the table that are basically the way that this technology arrived to market. And I think that in the last years, we has been through a transformation where we see that in the past, in our own business in the past, what I call the value creation, that is how you add value during the process, was a linear motion, meaning you went from the vendor to the distributor to the partner to the customer, and every piece is a little value. For now, I think that linear process changed drastically and is more an ecosystem, because now the complexity, the solutions, the IT consumption is so relevant for business outcomes that is not anymore one person can deliver everything, or one vendor have everything that you need. Then is how you orchestrate all these pieces, how you enable that connection, how you enable that competencies that are across different players work together to deliver the business outcome that the customers want. And that is the role that we intend to do that. And what we do with our vendors is work with this ecosystem to accelerate the adoption, the understanding, and the impact of their technology in the market in a way that end users can capitalize and obtain better results.
Super. So just for our audience, I was looking at this because I was trying to figure out, well, who goes to all these like big conferences of like 60, 70,000 people? But there's, I believe, 29 million developers around the world who are building stuff, right? And then the IT population, I believe, is about, well, it actually consists, the IT support and help desk uh, are is included in those. And so I believe that the population of people that like either build or support, right, is somewhere around like 35, 40 million plus people around the world. And so all these people want to get their hands on technology and support outcomes. So Sergio, like, tell us a little bit of I just want to double click a little bit into your business just so that we ground the audience and like how you serve. My at least point of view on your company is that it's like this one giant portal that you log in to get like software and access to some service providers and hardware specifically, so that people can get it all at pre-negotiated prices. And then you this portal goes through like very, very large companies, and people can just click in and get the things that they need, simplistically, right? Was that too simple of an explanation, or am I missing things?
Well, I hope that was so simple. But let me
It's
add
just
let
a
me add
giant
some.
storefront.
Exactly.
That's it. Nothing else going on.
So
No relationships.
it's like four Yahoo stores together. Got it.
Yeah, let me add some complexity
Yeah,
from that
totally.
perspective, in the context that, yeah, again, one of the things that we do is to enable the access to a vast amount of technology that is our portfolio. And our portfolio goes from something as simple as a cell phone or a PC to something as complex as a complete data center for AI training of high-end models, or cloud consumption, as an example, with any of the hyperscalers. Then all that going between that is part of the portfolio in technology that we bring to the market. The critical piece about that is that you can deliver that as a components as you described, but the real value is not only bring that to market as a components, but how the interconnection of those technologies and bring in more value than the pieces by itself. Then a
Okay.
big part of our work is not only deliver the components, is deliver solutions that integrate some those technologies. Some of those solutions are pre-architected, others are delivered by our own partners to the market. And yes, we have multiple ways to deliver that to the market. But I will describe more than only a portal as an omni-channel experience,
Yeah, totally.
because we have a model that, yes, is driven by obviously digitalization and connection, and we are heavily investing on that, but could be a portal, could be at the same time through an API economy, because many partners or many customers don't want to use a portal. They want to integrate the complete value chain in their digital journey, to their tool, to their things. Or can be a call to a person sometimes, because you don't have all the answers, or you want to have advice and you want to discuss a solution. Then in summary, the way that we approach to market, our go to market, is an omni-channel experience, that either if you want to engage in a personal way, and you want to engage in a portal, and you want to engage through connectors, you
Yeah.
have all this at your disposition to access and deliver the element. And I would say that another layer that is significantly, are two more layers that are significantly important in that enablement processes. One is the enablement piece, because one significant role that we play in the market is how we help. We have more than 150,000 partners, to give you a perspective,
Yeah.
companies that deliver technology across all the world. Then these players are constantly receiving new type of technologies, new type of information. Then somebody need to help them to cover the skill gap. How I train my people, how I decide what technology use, what we bring to the market for customers, depend of the maturity level of that customer. Then we have a significant part of our business that is oriented to provide that technical pre-sale capability, that enablement motion, that service, white label service for them until they reach to those competencies. And finally, doing all those things, we generate a bunch of data. And that data basically tell us a lot about the market. We are capable to understand what technology is consumed by what type of customer in what segments, what are the things that once you do an acquisition, the next product that you will acquire, etc. Then we use that data to help again our vendors and our partners to do better segmentation, to understand where they need to direct their efforts, and at the same time promote the technology to the end users in a way that they are aware of what is coming and how they can consume it easily. Then those are basically the layers that I will describe at the top
Yeah.
level.
Oh, this is great. And right before Kelly asks a question, because I know she's ready for it. We've only done like 40 of these
Well,
episodes.
Asher, you've been hogging all the questions, so.
Exactly.
I have questions too.
The TD Synnex, I believe, today is a $60 billion revenue company. And Sergio, like, do you? I'm sure you operate all around the world, but is it like 100 countries, 150 countries?
Well, we operate in more than 80 countries. I don't know exactly the total number, but yes, we have a global presence. We are basically in all Americas, from Canada to Argentina. In Europe, we have a significant presence. We are not deployed significantly in the Middle East. We are in only a few markets, and
Okay.
we have presence in Asia, Pacific, and Japan, but are some markets that we don't serve in that area. Then we are still growing in our geographical presence, but definitely we have a significant global operation today.
So my question was actually related. How diverse is your customer base in terms of customer size?
It's huge, meaning it's very
Small
diverse.
to large?
We operate with companies that are 5 individuals in a garage,
Oh, wow.
and we operate with companies that sell $10 billion. Then is significantly broad in terms of the market that we cover and serve. Beside, we have a significant focus in what is the SMB space.
Okay.
And the reason why is because the high enterprise space is in a big way covered directly by vendors themselves. They go normally direct to those markets. But in the SMB space, is a significant white space where nobody's covering, nobody is bringing the value that is needed. And that is a space that we cover. Again, we cover all the segments of customers, but I will say that that hot spot is an area where MSPs, CSPs, and other partner types are growing, and is the foundation for many of these companies that start in that layer and they progress in the value chain.
Super. This is super fascinating because it sounds incredibly complex, kind of the platform orchestration that you're doing. Like the way you described it was to me is like the essence of why platforms exist is adding that value, connecting these people across the chain, all the partners and the customers. Could you say more about how you guys have done both through technologies and programs to really connect different partner types? I think that's something that's really, you're seeing a lot of innovation. If you look at AWS or Microsoft, they have these P2P programs, tri-party programs, where they're really, I think AWS is starting to get on this concept of like, how do we take the service providers and the ISVs and have them match together and go for joint solutions. And I think platforms, because the data they're sitting on, right, are uniquely positioned to kind of make those connections and facilitate them around themselves. So I'd love just to hear more about anything you guys have done from a program perspective or a technology perspective to ensure that when you have one customer, you're, instead of them having to find different software, 7 different services on their own, you're adding that value of saying, let me provide a more curated interaction for you and take some of that work off your plate.
Yeah, as I was describing to you, in the past, I would say that our job was easier from the perspective that the technology was simpler too,
Yeah,
right? Then
totally.
I would say that you have a single approach and you can satisfy the needs in general. Now that changed drastically, and we changed with that across the year. We move to a value perspective, and then now we are more in the context of, in the way that we describe ourselves, is a collection of specialists. And this is important because you cannot be everything for everybody. The only way that you can really satisfy the needs is understanding that the segments, and the segments, we can talk about technology segments as an example. We can talk about security and networking, or we can talk about the cloud segment, or we can go about the data and AI segment, or the edge and consumer segment. Then are different segments, and the technology segments don't have the same needs, and the partner types that we serve are not the same. And still, in common partner types, they don't have the same maturity level. Then are several elements that we need to consider in that interaction, and our programs are defined in that way. Let me give you an example to be more concrete. One of the segments where we has been investing a lot and put it a lot of emphasis in is in the MSP space. The reason why is because the MSP is a combination of a company that resell technology but have significant investment in the delivery of services and managed services to support that technology. But still, if you go to an MSP, you have multiple type of MSPs and sizes in the MSPs. And you have MSPs that are focused in the cloud that are called CSPs, or you have MSPs that are focused in security that are called MSSPs. And then you need to understand that variance from the perspective of how you bring. Then what we did was we create a program that is called um, Evolve, and that program is basically tailored with a set of capabilities from the enablement perspective, from the go-to-market perspective, from the technology tools that we provide, the services delivery that we provide to that specific function. And then as a partner, you, based on your maturity model, can select from that stack of capabilities, what do you need in the moment that you are? And then that the program adapt to serve you with that circumstance. And that goes from, okay, I only need basic technical training as part of the enablement, to something as complicated as, I want to create a security practice. Then we have a program that is Practice Builder that help you to create a complete practice around a specific technology element. But again, that is a consultative in some way process that we go with our people in terms of attending those customer segments, understanding where you want to go, and how you fulfill your needs based on the program in the right moment and with the right stack that you need to be served.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Okay, just for our audience, the reason why when Sergio says vendor, he means basically both a software and a hardware company, right? And
Absolutely.
I've been trying to figure out like why this word vendor is used amongst, like I was talking to our friends at Bridge Partners, they were like, well, we know all these vendors. I'm like, well, who's vendor? They're like, well, HP, and I'm like, well, they're a hardware company. They're like, well, so I realized that the reason why the word vendor is used, and it has some historical significance to it. But Sergio, so this is interesting because most of the people that we interview, right, are looking at the enterprise market and they go to market through solutions, right? And but you're saying, hey, we're going to go after global SMB, which is technically the hardest segment to go after, right? No one company can conquer global SMB. You can always conquer, I would say, the top 5,000 enterprise companies. I mean, clearly the banks have them, and I'm sure there's other companies out there. Um, but but if you go to market to serve global SMB, then you don't go solution first, right? Because they, like, SMBs don't buy solutions, right? They buy point products to get their workflows done, or maybe they do buy solutions now. So I'd love some color on like like how should people think about uh, structuring the go to market when they go tackle an SMB market specifically?
Yeah. First, let me clarify. We go to all segments, but
Yeah, yeah,
as I
totally.
described, the hotspot of SMB is a significant priority for us. And I will say that I would say that it's a misunderstanding that the SMB don't have a solution approach, and the misunderstanding is only because the easy way to serve that market is trying to treat that market in a product based approach, not in a solution approach. Then it's more the reaction or the result, how I address the market with less complexity. That is what has been happening for some time. But in reality, that is not still every customer, independent of their size.
Yep.
And in the SMB, you still have companies with 1,000, 2,000 people. Then it's still a sizable element.
Yeah,
They
totally.
are still driven by use cases and by solutions. Then we use a dual approach. Yes, we still provide software or cloud services or hardware if it's
Yep.
necessary. But we help, as an example, we launch something that we call Cloud Labs.
Okay.
And in Cloud Labs, what we do is we create an easy way for the partners that serve that segment. They create an appointment and they come with their customers and they basically leave an experience related to any specific use case that they want to test. Let me give you an example. If you are a lawyer firm and you want to see the use of AI, that can be Copilot or it can be Q from Amazon, any of these solutions,
Yep.
you can go to Cloud Labs, you can set up a session, and then we create an environment that replicate a scenario of a lawyer firm, and then you can test that technology and you see use cases of that technology that you with the customer can visit and view. And that is the way how this type of technologies is really consumed by SMB. Because if you go to a lawyer firm and you say, I came to sell AI, the guy will look you on the
Yeah,
eyes and will
totally.
say,
They're like, what do you mean, right? Or here's a better way to like for our dentist for maybe the other easy one to like pick as
exactly,
example, right? Like they're
exactly.
like I don't know when your teeth are going to be straight, you know. Well, let's figure it out, you know. So
But if you go to an HR department and you say, hey,
yeah,
let me show you how you analyze 30 curriculums based on the posts that you have
yeah,
and give
totally.
you the best two candidates based on the profile that you are setting, and this is what the AI do for you. And what
Okay,
that means is that you can reduce 30 man hours in that work to dedicate to more efficient areas. Now we are talking. And
yeah,
this happens at the SME level too. This is not
yeah,
only a
yeah, yeah.
corporate conversation.
Okay, so how do you segment the SMB then, right? Because the is it the same way that you've got financial SMB companies and like real estate SMB companies and insurance SMB, like how like I'm curious like how
Yeah, we
you
have
segment.
different segmentations, and in some cases we need to align with the vendors' definitions because
Yeah,
their
yeah,
programs
totally.
are set up based on that. Then we need to balance that because
Yep.
we in some way bring those programs to market. But usually the two elements that you see is they are classified either by revenue or either by number of peoples that the company have. Those are the two more common
Okay.
elements in terms of the size of the SMB. And then you have another element that we use a lot, that is the vertical segmentation. That is this type of, is this a education segment, or is this a finance segment? Is this the legal, or is say,
Okay.
what is the segment that they are serving? Because that have some variations in the type of things. As an example, if you are selling cloud services, but in the government space, then you need to understand there are some certifications and that you need to bring as part of that motion to that type of partner and customer. If you are talking about healthcare, you have the HIPAA compliance and other restrictions or certification that you need to deliver. Then all these elements need to be considered, and including when we have partners that are serving the healthcare space, we create a complete solution set up for them.
Yeah.
And some of the elements that we introduced was an agreement with a hospital. And we bring the partners and they spend 3 days inside the hospital where they went through every single element of the hospital to understand how the business operate, what is the language, what pharmacy do, what triage do, what is the high risk of cost based on patient return after attendance, how that can be minimized with tools, etc. Then that complexity need to be solved, and the partners are the critical component to do that with technology.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about your relationship with that customer, whether it's the hospital or the law firm, in terms of how much do you have that direct relationship with the partner and your brand is with with the customer, and how much are you going through the partner to have that relationship? And I
Yeah,
imagine it would vary across
we
segment, but like,
normally are the back end, not the
okay,
front end. From that
Yeah.
perspective, we white label our capabilities and services. As an example, everything that we design, either services or tools, as an example, if you want to buy a license and then manage the subscription of the license, or if you buy a consumption like infrastructure in the cloud,
Yeah.
we provide a complete platform that is called StreamOne, and that platform is for the partner, but the partner can extend that in a white label motion to the end user to automate all the digital connection. But we are in the back end, we are not in the front end. We let the partner to lead that relationship, and we support them and enablement either with tools, with capabilities, with financial solutions, all that in a way that they can be the front end of that process.
Yeah, this is super interesting because okay, so this is I feel like where the market's at right now. So you are here saying we are a technology and services aggregator and distributor, right? And then you've got the clouds who are saying we're going to create these marketplaces so everybody comes to us, right? Then you have the global system integrators who are saying, you know what, AI, because of AI productivity, we can actually bring on engineers and all these other people that can. So you basically have a software plus services company, right, or technology plus services company, and they're all essentially the same company, right? Like an EY, and the future version of EY is you, right? um, you are the future version of what the clouds are trying to do, and the only difference I think is that you don't create your own technology, you're aggregating it, but you have access to a bigger market that those large companies all want, right? So what happens, like tell us about
Yeah,
like what keeps you up at night.
the other element that I will challenge in that logic is if you take the case of the hyperscalers that you described, right?
Yeah,
They go to market with their ecosystem,
yeah,
right?
totally, totally.
But we integrate all the ecosystems.
It's
We are
correct,
the
totally, totally.
ecosystems of
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
ecosystems.
yeah, yeah,
And that is the big difference, because if you come to us, as an example in Stream One, you
yeah,
can have Microsoft, you can have Amazon, you can have Google, you have
yeah,
IBM, all in the same place, all in the
yeah,
same cloud, all in the same billing, all in the same management tool,
yeah, totally.
because we normalize all those interactions in a way that, independent of with who you are transacting, your experience is the same.
Yeah, totally.
And that have a great value, because if not, you need to go to all these places to try to bring the solution to your customer.
Yeah, no, no, I fully agree with you. It's just the I'm going to say a word that may offend some people, but the greed of each party is like, I want the relationship to the customer, is probably what keeps people focused on just their own ecosystem first. But you're taking a very solution centric uh, point of view on the market by saying like, doesn't matter what you need to accomplish, as long as the outcome is clear, we will give you the technology and the services to get to that point, right? Versus an AWS cannot say that, right? Like I mean, they can try, but there's all that, then they have to leverage their entire ecosystem, but then you are also part of their ecosystem. And this is like a very complex like ecosystem problem. But I guess I would love to know like what keeps you up at night, like as you look down, right? And you're responsible for both strategy and technology, which is an awesome combination, because you can say like where are we going to bet and which big bets are we going to take, but you're also are responsible for like prioritizing the technology inside the company. Like it'd be interesting to see like what keeps you up at night. Like what do you see?
Yeah, well, based on my responsibilities that you well described that are strategy and technology, I practically don't sleep, right?
That's fair.
But no, now seriously, no,
I didn't think of that. Dang it. Well played.
Should have ran
no,
your questions by AI, Asher.
Exactly. I do have ChatGPT open from the last episode.
no, but what in reality keep us up at night is how we really anticipate the customer needs.
Yeah.
Because I know that this is a very used term, that customer obsession, but
Yeah.
it's really important. If you are not capable to understand what are the needs and how you support that needs in the future, that is very challenging, because somebody will do it for you and then will displace your relevance, right?
Yeah. That makes
A good
sense.
example of this is this topic of I think the distribution is a great example, because when software, as an example, moved to digital, everybody said distributors are dead. Who will use distribution if you
Yeah,
can buy
totally.
a license?
Totally.
And
This was 2 years ago. Everybody was like, "Oh, we'll just go to the marketplace direct, and we have this.
exactly, you go to the
We
marketplace
have
and
this
everything.
consumption contract that is up for 3 years. I can buy what essentially a credit card for buying technology, right?
Yeah,
With the
and
three
it's
Well,
not
years
so
on it.
though
simple, right?
to be fair, the hyperscalers have taken more and more market share, and it's growing, right? So like the people are buying through that, and they are finding it to be the customers finding it to be a
Yeah.
valuable way to purchase. So
Not in
it might have
global.
been overblown, but it
Yeah.
certainly is on the rise.
So
Yeah,
that
but
part is true. I think the part of the market that is very hard for anybody to conquer is this global SMB market. Like if you built an amazing global SMB company, you will get any money you want from VCs. I mean, this is like tons of articles have written about it. But sorry, go ahead.
no, I think that you're spot on. That is why we are so focused in the SMB
Yeah,
space, right? This is the golden space for us, because it's
yeah,
the space that no many has been very successful, and require a combination of multiple elements. Require the combination of deep strengths in technology, but at the same time, you need to bring not only a level of automation from the transactional perspective. You need to bring a level of automation from the data understanding and management and promotion and digital engagement. All
yeah,
those elements are a critical component. I see a lot of uh, buzz and words about marketplaces,
yeah,
digitalization. But digitalization, the fact that you put a product in a marketplace, don't make the product sell by itself.
yeah, totally.
That doesn't happen.
No.
Yeah,
Sadly, it doesn't work in that way. Then everything that make that product relevant to a user, to a end customer, is somebody that basically enable the use of that product to solve a business problem. That is why I talked at the example of the cloud labs, because it's real situations that you bring to them to understand how to implement and drive the technology.
yeah,
In the way that we implement in String One the transaction of ISVs, we don't only transact and manage the ISV, we enable that you deploy that ISV in the cloud, meaning the deployment is part of our delivery. Then you minimize the work of engineer that
totally.
is required for that. We synchronize that with your backend systems. As an example, if you use an ERP or ConnectWise or any of these PSAs, you can connect to that. Again, you need to build all these capabilities in a way that you simplify the life of that SMB, and the SMB end to be an extension that have all these capabilities with no investment, because they don't have all the resources to invest in all the things that they need to be successful.
Yeah, and
Then that will play a role that I think that is very unique.
the other interesting thing is like there are companies out there, just for our audience's info, like that are fully focused on BPO, right? Like they will take the software, put it in a machine, deliver it. The only difference is all the employees that do that are theirs, right? And I would say I heard this term at another event called the India Five, which is basically the top system integrators in India. Most of their business is actually like either staff augmentation or business process outsourcing. But then you are actually going at that from a different model where you're saying, no, there's MSPs that already exist in the market, which have a lot of local reach, primarily localization is a big problem. Even I would say in some parts, even in some parts of the U.S., right? Like you need to take the software to the people and they train them on how to use it, and then they will find the productivity gains, right? Um, the people who actually just I mean, this is a search query I want to go do after this podcast. Is like how many people are there that use technology that can actually use it themselves and get the productivity gains themselves? I'm thinking very 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 few people. But your model of like using the MSPs, which is already an established channel, to deliver these both again technology and services, is actually, and then you aggregate on the other side is just you're just going at the market slightly differently.
What would you say the biggest challenge is keeping your partners invested in you and happy?
Well, absolutely. We are in a competitive market, right? Then everybody is fighting for that space.
Yep.
Then the only way to keep that is really, as I said, every day, and that is what keeps us wake up, is how we continue delivering better value, better services to them in a way that they feel that working with us
Yeah.
have a value. I will give you another example. We have partners that have direct relationship with a vendor, not through us, but the direct relationships. And in many cases, now some of these partners are moving from their direct relationship to
Yeah.
our indirect relationship, because when they make a monetization analysis, everything that we provide to them as part of the value that we deliver is significantly cheaper than the benefit that they keep staying direct with a vendor. Then that is basically something that we has been improving, because don't forget that this concept of 70% of the millennial buyers want to engage digitally, etc. Well, that means that if you have a company, you need to have all these capabilities, not only the digital transactional capability, but the data analytics and all their elements. Then, if you are an SMB partner customer, then how much do you need to invest to be really good in that?
Yeah.
Probably begin to be prohibited. It's better to engage with somebody that give you that capability and then focus on the competencies and the things that you really can be unique. And that is part of the motion that we are putting in place, and how we invest is to extend that capability, create operational efficiency, accelerate revenue, and minimize skill gap. Those are the three focus for us to make that relationship attractive.
Talk to us a little bit about um, the opportunities for new startups to participate in your program, right? Because um, like on one side, again, we go back to you've got the cloud saying come to me, right? And then you've got the biz apps companies like Salesforce and stuff like that saying come to me, and then there's you saying, hey, I've also got a pipe for distribution, because like again, based on all the news and where the market's headed, we're going to have tons of new startups, right? Like there's people that are at private equity and VC firms saying, you know, this investing game was good, but all the actions in the market, I just want to go take a run at it, right? In services companies, the chance to become a partner or get promoted is going to reduce because of all the AI productivity. So you have all this talented folks who are basically going to come together with their friends and then go create companies. So that means like you have a new market coming up, which is going to be very qualified. It's not these like kids that got out of school that think they're going to go raise $1 billion and build a company. It's like very seasoned people are going to come and bring solutions. So is that on your radar?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a critical part of our value proposition. From the perspective, let me give you an example from the
Yeah.
perspective of ISVs that you are mentioning as an startup motion. Uh, you know, we cannot supply the fact that you still need to have a good product and have something that the people is interested.
Yeah.
But what we can do for you is basically, if you different from exhibit your product in a huge marketplace. Well, once you exhibit your product in a huge marketplace, what happens? If nobody search for the product, you don't sell the product.
Yeah.
Then the motion that we use in this case is different. Is okay, what is the product that you are bringing? What is the value? What is the profile as a consequence of the end user that you are looking for? Once we understand the end user profile, Then we can understand what is the partner profile that served to the end user. Then we can identify, okay, in the 150,000 partners that we serve, here are the 500 partners across the world that serve that type of end user with these skills and this profile. They now work together to deliver the message to those partners in a way that they get aware that you exist first. Second, how we now that they are aware and interested, we motivate then the engagement for you.
Yeah.
And how now they expose to the right customers your product in a way that they capture the
Yeah,
market.
totally.
That is a unique value proposition that nobody can do beside us.
Yeah, no,
And in
I mean,
addition to
it's
that,
very, very clear. I mean, this again, this solutions focused go to market with a heavy focus on enablement with segmentation. Uh, yeah,
So
I
you're
think we're
saying
going
when
to
you
combo.
have new ISVs come in, one of the primary vectors of value you're delivering is to connect with them with your right service solutions providers, who then can then essentially include them in their packages to the end user.
absolutely. And in addition to that, the fact that now you will be enabled digitally across more than 80 countries if you want. We deal with all the tax complexity, the currency complexity, the importation compliance laws. That is on us. It's not
Yeah,
on you.
yeah, totally.
Right? Then imagine the scale that we bring to a small company through all these capabilities. You identify the right way to go to market. You have the digital tools to manage your software, including the fact that in many cases we have some ISVs that they don't have the tools inside to manage lifecycle subscriptions, as an example.
Yeah,
Our platform can do that for them, and I report the use and the variations at the end of the month to you for billing. Then we can supply all those capabilities to an ISV. It's a matter of how we interact with them and the decision that they need to take to invest with us. And in addition to that, once your ISV is in our platform, your software can be deployed in any of the hyperscalers because I have all the hyperscalers
yeah.
on my platform. Then that is a combination of value in all these layers that make that a really good offer from the perspective of a company that is coming to market.
So the thing where I'm at right now is this is super interesting. So you aggregate technology and services, you distribute them, you enable the market, right? And so what's the business model, right? Like because like you don't have your own product, right? You have enablement services, you have a lot of like cost overhead, right? And so how do you fund the company?
Well, again, we have two customers,
Okay.
the vendors and
Yep.
the partners.
Yep.
And that is how we create the business model, right? Because we provide this service to the vendors where we are probably the most efficient route to market because they are getting all these benefits with a shared cost model, not
Yeah,
a
totally.
complete dedicated model. And from
Totally.
the perspective of the partners, they are getting all these capabilities, tools, etc., for probably a small difference between go direct versus going direct.
Yeah.
Then again, those two elements combine our model, and of course, is other elements like how we monetize our services and other layers of value that we provide that are optional depend on the capabilities that you have at the model. As
Yeah.
an example, a partner that have a full scope of services, they
Yep.
don't use us for that. But a partner that just have 10 people and now a customer have the need to do a data center migration from
Yep.
their on-premise to the cloud, they use our white label data center migration services, and he now present himself as a certified
Yeah. Yeah.
migration
Totally.
expert, but they don't have that. We are providing that in the backend.
Yeah. So
There is multiple areas of monetization in the model.
yeah, and I can totally see like a vendor like let's just say like since AWS is our favorite, we were picking on them this podcast. We'll totally give the other two vendors
So
some
we have
love
a
as
great
well.
relationship with Amazon too.
Exactly. Um so AWS is a distribution team. They have distribution programs, which essentially has like either MDF or some other chunk of money, right? So you're basically they would come to you and say, hey, like we want to take advantage of this large network that you've created. You're essentially monetizing a network, right? And then and then either AWS marketing or some other like distribution program fund is paying you from there. But then what about the other side? Like if I'm a 10% MSP, do I sign up for a subscription to you or
Yes.
okay?
If you are let me, this is a concrete example with AWS.
Yeah,
Part of the work that we do with AWS is we identify potential partners that are
yeah, totally.
interested in
Yeah,
Amazon.
yeah,
Then we develop those partners, co-develop those partners with them, and
yeah,
they basically do all the transactional process, either buy the consumption for their customers, manage their consumption on a daily basis in our platform.
yeah,
All that process is completely done through us and is automated completely to AWS through APIs that we have with them. And then as the partner progress and grow, again, they are acquiring new competencies. To give you a perspective, we have more than 10 competencies in Amazon, technically,
yeah, yeah,
today.
yeah,
Not many companies in the world
yeah,
that do services have that.
yeah,
And the reason why we invest in these things is to transfer those competencies for our partners when they need it. And that is how we create more value. It's not only the transactional, it's not the enablement, it's the fact that we enable them to deliver when it's necessary and they don't have those capabilities.
yeah, yeah. Well, this is fascinating. Okay, so you guys have figured out how to monetize a network and build a $60 million. That's great.
Are you taking notes, Asher? How can
Exactly.
I
I'm just
monetize
like,
the Partnership Leaders
how
Network?
is this working? Like, we gotta stop this podcast and like talk to about Sergio about other things. Okay, so this is interesting. Sergio, I mean, we are going to run out of time, and as always, we can probably talk to our guests for forever. But like, we'll for sure bring you back. But the if there were like a few go to market trends that you would want to let or leave our audience with, I'd love to just get a point of view on that, and then we'll bring you back about after 3 or 6 months and like do another one of these like what's happening in distributor land type of episodes. But would love to hear your advice for like on the go-to-market trends you're seeing.
Yeah, I would say that I will divide in some different topics. One is technology is consumed associated to use cases.
Yep.
Then I think that is one critical element that we has been improving is understand what are those use cases that can be scalable and how we help the partners to understand and then to demo, because it's a matter of see what the technology can do for your business. That is one trend that is very strong. The second element is this omni-channel aspect that I tell you.
Yeah.
Are companies that are assuming that they can define or force where the customer need to meet with them.
Yep.
And I think that is a mistake. I think that you need to meet the customer where the
Where they
customer
are.
is or where the customer want to be. Then if he want to call you by phone, you need to pick the phone. If he want to join your Stream One platform and operate in the portal, you need to do that. If you want to meet in API connection and in a connector, you need to do that. You need to meet the customer where the customer is willing to engage with you.
Do you have any thoughts on trends in that specific bucket? Because a lot of the like market research that's been put out for a while is, people who grew up digital native and are now having more business buying decision, they want 70% of the experience to be digital. They want to talk to the person late in the process. But what are you actually seeing? Like, is it incredibly diverse in the market depending on these different industries and verticals that you're serving? Like, what
Yeah,
are the trends and what the customer wants?
we see that the digital engagement is growing without a doubt. No doubt. But the other thing that we saw, and this is information captured by our own surveys with customers, is the reason where I am with you is because when I need information, I find it. But when I want to talk to somebody answer the phone.
Yeah.
Then again, that is a powerful message, because what they are telling you is you need to give me all that capability, but when I want the human contact, I need to get access to that. Then I don't know if in the future with all the AI agentic engagement, that will be probably better served by AI models than people. We will test that. I don't know, but I am convinced that have an interaction still bring value, and we believe in that, and we surface that. And again, we will adapt to what the customer wants. If the customer tell me at the end, I don't want to talk to anybody, give me a robot, and I will be happy, then I will give them a robot, right? But that is the motion that you need to follow and track from that perspective. And the final element that I would say is that the other thing that the people usually uh, don't really realize in terms of value is the use of data to drive outcomes. And again, one of the things that we really value is the amount of data based on the size of the business and the multiple ecosystem interactions that we have that we can collect. And we have been investing a lot to bring insights and trends and analysis. Then I will say that you will see more and more that the conversion of data in real impact to drive real concrete growth, upsell, cross-sell activities will be more and more. And your favorite company that you said, Amazon, in their B2C business, close to 35% of their business is the result of analytics, cross-sell, and upsell. Then they show that. Totally. And we think that that can be replicated in the B2B business. And that is the motion that we are bringing to market.
Yeah. I just want to put a disclaimer out there. My favorite company is not Amazon. It may very well maybe for this podcast. I also don't want to get a call from my friends from Microsoft and Google and Oracle after this podcast.
Asher loves all tech companies.
We love them all equal.
I am like all technology. I'm just like you, like I'm a community person, and you're a professional. You're a really professional network, Well, Sergio, I do believe that there is a huge opportunity for you all to bring more of SaaS over to the MSP channel, because I think one of the things that's been very hard for SaaS business leaders is to figure out how do we operate in this MSP environment, right? But if you've already created a platform where the SaaS can plug into, and then you've got the distributor on the other side, I think that's actually gold. Like that.
Well, not only I will say that we are absolutely on the train of SaaS. We are growing like crazy, and our platform have a complete subscription lifecycle management capabilities. Then
totally.
That is the best way to deliver that. But not only that, consumption is the other area that is exploding, right? Yeah. And if you think about it, subscription is only a type of consumption. Yeah. Then in the way that we approach that was we made significant investments in our own consumption billing engine in a way that now we can easily support subscription. But now you will see a new trend with agentic AI, where the agents will be charged by use, by different type of use. Yeah. Then our platform is already available and ready to accomplish that when the new agentic approach is coming from that direction.
Yeah, well, that's token management, basically, I believe is where the market's going right now, right? And because everybody's trying to figure out, well, if somebody used 5 gigabytes of my Snowflake database versus 5.2, then should I charge for that? Or should I, and then the customer is saying, no, charge me for the outcome. And then, so the token is like the currency for doing that. So great. All right. Well, this was awesome. We normally do these on Fridays, but we had some other stuff going on, and you were very gracious enough to give us some time on a Tuesday. Fantastic. I would say kicking off to the week. We'll be in touch. But Sergio, thanks so much for spending time with us. And Kelly, as always, thanks for being a lovely co-host.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the podcast on your favorite player or YouTube. Share it with a colleague, or tell us what you thought of it on LinkedIn. See you next time.